Hi everybody, Shannon and Karen with Wandering Out Yonder. Well, today, welcome to day 3 of our road trip to Missouri. Today, we are visiting the Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in Weston, West Virginia. It is now a historical landmark. We were here on opening day. This was a bucket list stop for Shannon. We arrived early in the morning on day 3 of our road trip. It was a beautiful early spring day. I was really surprised when we arrived, as I was not expecting to see such a large building and campus, and the architecture was stunning. The asylum offers several different tours. There was a tent set up outside with all the information and 6 tours that were available on this particular day. Shannon and I chose 3 tours for the day: a gray tour, a blue tour, and an orange tour. There is so much history and so much to cover, it would be next to impossible to be able to really see it all in one day. This building is the largest hand-cut stone masonry building in North America and the second largest in the world. The asylum was built between 1858 and 1881 to house 250 patients. However, during its peak in the 1950s, it reached about 2,400 patients, creating overcrowded and generally poor conditions. This beautiful building was designed by an architect following what was known as the Kirkbride Plan, which called for long structural halls or wings arranged in staggered formation. This method was used to ensure that all connecting structures received therapeutic sunlight and fresh air in abundance. One of the features of the building are what are called the faces of the asylum. You will notice these outside some of the main entrances to the asylum. They are called grotesques and were believed to ward off evil spirits. Changes in the treatment of mental illness and the physical deterioration of the facility forced its closure in 1994, and it has since been reopened for tours of the facility. After paying for our tickets, we joined our group for the first tour. This was the gray tour, which is the first floor tour north. It is on the first floor and is around a 45-minute tour. This tour covers the maximum security and patient art therapy wing. This tour also covers psychiatric treatments and Dr. Walter Freeman's work. Dr. Freeman is well known for his lobotomy work. Although he had no surgical training skills, he performed more than 3,500 lobotomies during his lifetime. There are stories of how patients would wait to see the lobotomy van, which was called the lobotomobile, to show up, and they would all go and hide. This is because the doctor would walk down the halls and randomly pick patients to perform his lobotomies. There was no rhyme or reason for his method. Our tour guide was Jasmine, and she did a wonderful job, and she was very knowledgeable. We found out that this was her first time as a tour guide, and she really did a great job. Part of the tour takes you down the hallways and into the rooms of the patients. You will see the artwork of the patients, how they were housed, and get a feel for how they lived. We also visited the maximum security area, the nurses' stations and how they interacted with patients, the precautions that were taken to ensure the safety of the patients as well as the staff. The next tour was the blue tour, or the 4th floor tour, and that was around 90 minutes. Our tour guide Lindsay took us through the area of the asylum that housed doctors and nurses. We visited doctors' apartments and the nurses' quarters. We also visited Ward F, where the most devious of patients were kept. The first floor is also part of this tour and covers the medical center, a more in-depth history of the medical treatments and performed in the asylum. We also visited the admissions area and learned a bit about how and for what reasons many of the patients were admitted to the asylum. The Orange Tour, or the Criminally Insane Tour, was the last tour that we chose. This was in a building separate from the main building, and for good reason. During this time, they did not feel that it was just or right to place a murderer, a burglar, or a thief with the virtuous class of insane. Bryce was our tour guide, and he shared stories and history of this tour. Shannon and I ended the day with visiting the first floor again and wandering through the museum and history on this floor. The museum is self-guided, and you can see the tools used, the clothing and uniforms of the staff and doctors, some of the therapy treatments such as hydrotherapy, lobotomies, and the tranquilizing chair, and many other interesting facts and stories of the asylum. At the end of a long day, we finally made it to our camping spot in Stonewall Resort State Park, West Virginia. We really enjoyed the day and the history of the asylum. A little tidying up for Fran, and now for some downtime and dinner. And the official opening of the box of hats from Canet Sports. We've been looking forward to trying out our new hats. We ended the night enjoying the reflections of the lodge across the lake. Good night from West Virginia. Tomorrow, Kentucky.